Welcome everyone to the first MEDLIFE podcast from Campus to Clinics. My name is Alejandro and I'm the Med International Team Lead. Today we'll be talking about how student activities on campus, like fundraising, recruitment, local volunteering, transform into tangible impact abroad through medicine, doctors, clinics, and much more. So today we have Alessandra. Welcome, Alessandra.
Hello everyone, my name is Alessandra Segarra. I'm chapter coach of the MEDLIFE International team, and today I'm extremely excited to participate in this new podcast.
All right, so today we want to answer the following question. Can a chapter really make an impact, Alessandra? So Alessandra, tell me, when we say from campus to clinics, what do we really mean in practice?
I will say, Ale, it reminds me to the phrase from theory to practice. It's about making what we learn in classroom feel real and tangible. So I believe this journey begins when students get to have like a deeper understanding of the health disparities in different countries, and they become so motivated and start looking for different opportunities to do more, to actually make a change. And at this point is where we discover those leaders, those students who would like to actually create a chapter at their university.
All right. So tell us, how do chapters come into the equation for those students who want to take a next step?
So for those motivated students or the ones who actually would like to go beyond, the first step is actually creating a MEDLIFE chapter on campus. And this is where we call them like the e-boarders. Those e-boarders or motivated students, or the ones who are actually taking that leadership, are the ones who act as an engine to mobilize 100 of the students to participate in different activities on campus, and even like participating in our service learning trips abroad. They're the ones who help us to provide these essential health services like basic medical care, dental treatment, running educational workshops to the low-income families that we work with.
Most people think a chapter is just another campus club. That's wrong. It's the engine that funds doctors, clinics, and community projects abroad. So Alessandra, what is it for students to start a new chapter?
What is like, from our perspective, Alejandro, is actually certainly a challenge. Finding leaders who are motivated as you takes time, takes effort, and just for you to understand a little bit of the process. Here in MEDLIFE, when we find those motivated students, we connect with them. Our expansion team connects with them and have an introductory meeting, just for them to kind of like explain what is MEDLIFE about, what is the organization, what do we do as an organization, our main campaigns, our goal, our mission, kind of like to make sure that we clarify the expectations as well. And when those motivated students decide to move forward, this is where everything starts. Then the next process or the next step is actually finding more students to be involved in the MEDLIFE Club as e-boarders, and getting to have the school approval so that we can run our international campaigns, such as like the SLTs, the service learning trips, our movie mountain fundraising campaign, and actually for students to be able to even do more for their own community too. For example, doing local volunteering activities, having their general body members, our meetings, and yeah, that's like where everything starts.
And do you have any story that stands out?
I do have one story from a specific chapter. Is in MEDLIFE University of Ottawa. Actually, a couple of years ago, they were struggling a little bit, to be honest. They did not have like that many members, and then somehow, because of course every year we change the board, we get to have like really great presidents and an amazing SLT officer, and that's where everything changed. So we start having like more members participating in our meetings. Our SLT is dramatically increased, like by, I will say, 21 new travelers for the last year.
Wow.
And that was so impressive. Even though we faced like a lot of obstacles in the road, people were just doubting, it was their first time sometimes traveling abroad. I believe the e-boarders did an amazing job to kind of like overcome all the problems that they faced, and they had a great success.
Wow, that's amazing to hear, Ale. That is really the example of resilience that we really hope and expect that all volunteers who are part of MEDLIFE can gain as a skill that is important in life. So now I'd also like to add that a lot of our students get to know MEDLIFE through also referring from students who are already part of the organization, of the movement, and of MEDLIFE chapters. And so by word of mouth, together with more students joining the movement, we can expand our reach, we can expand our impact everywhere.
No, Alejandra, that you mentioned that, I completely agree on that, because we do have had like e-boarders from colleges, universities, referring even their friends or even family members from high schoolers, and they were actually able to open chapters there too. So it is also like, as we were saying, word of mouth, referring friends, and getting to grow our movement as much as we can.
Great, awesome, Heidi. So now that you mentioned, Alessandra, moving mountains, what are other creative ways in which students raise funds?
Wow, there's like a bunch. I'm truly amazed at the creativity I see in my chapters nowadays. So I've seen, for example, for Moving Mountains, we have the Power Hour. They get together with their e-board and general members to just have fun. They create different and crazy challenges to actually reach to their goal, because we also establish those goals at the very beginning of the year. So they play music. They also consider that as a bonding event for them to get to know their general members even more. I even have been involved in some of those crazy challenges. If you go to my Instagram account, you can even see me. It's kind of like breaking eggs on my head, which is so fun. But that's, for example, something that I've seen in Moving Mountains. Something in addition that I've seen, but not only related to Moving Mountains, but actually to raise funds for their own trips, is, for example, they do bake sales, they do pumpkin carving activity, they do even a Halloween party too. I saw that from University of California, Davis, and they had so much success, and they were even able to cover a significant amount of their trip for their members.
You know, something that I've noticed about students, like when they're planning to go on a service learning trip with MedLife, is that they're not sure on how to fundraise money themselves, like individually. One tip that I would give students, I usually give students, is that they reach out to their family, their parents, their parents' co-workers, and that they share their motivation, the MedLife mission, and they in a way motivate their family and their friends to donate money towards their trip. And that's an interesting thing that not all students consider, but it is also part of like going out of your comfort zone, part of growing. It's also what brings this as a skill to students.
That's completely true. And now that you mentioned, I do have one example of Jada Baker from University of McGill. Well, McGill University, there in Canada. Actually, she was able to create her own fundraising page, and I believe she gathered like more than half of the cost of their trip.
Wow.
So those individual strategies, I will say, they completely work. And she told me actually that it was thanks to their friends and family. Well, the majority of them were family members. So that's completely true.
True. So Ali, tell me, what are the most common misconceptions that students have about leading and growing a chapter?
I often hear 3 of them. I don't have the time, it is too expensive, or that strategy won't work for us. So for the first 2, I would say is more about like prioritizing the things that you would like to achieve. If you don't have the time, but it's something that you are really passionate about, you will make time, or you will create time for it. And then if it's too expensive, you also will look for ways to actually kind of like organize yourself, financially speaking, to participate in those trips. What I've mentioned before from Jada, for example, she started like 1 year before the actual trip. So she started fundraising in August, September, and then her trip was next May. So it is more about like prioritizing what you truly want to do or what you truly believe in.
Interesting what you mentioned about the concern of being expensive. I think that many students don't know also that we have scholarships and discounts and different ways in which they can really reduce the cost of that trip to make it more affordable for them. So now I also like to add that there's another concern that students have, which is the fact that they don't think that it is possible to do this, or that they think that there's not a lot of work that they need to put behind as well. So this really can be an issue because they think like just by, for example, participating in a club fair, that's all they need to do to attract people to the club. And that what we know as chapter coaches in reality is that many times they need to do other efforts, right? There's like a big effort they need to put in to really attract people, to share the MEDLIFE values, to really sell on what is MEDLIFE trying to do, accomplishing, and why it's important, or it would be interesting for them to join, no?
And that's true. What you mentioned, it actually relates to my third concern that I was talking about. That a strategy won't work for us. As chapter coaches, we encourage them to even do more. Do not just trust on the fair. We do also like give them the possibility or give them the strategies. For example, going to visit some classes, reaching out to their professors, doing some additional flyering and tabling so they can actually gather more students to participate in our movement as well. And I believe, and I completely understand that sometimes there are some hesitations because they are scared. But I will say, like, as chapter coaches, we also give them that push and just ask them to try and see. If you fail, that's okay. Plan A didn't work. Okay, let's move forward. Plan B. And that's the idea.
Again, it's all about resilience too, right?
That's true.
Myth: you need hundreds of dollars to make a difference.
Reality: the real power is collective efforts. Many students, many campuses equal long-term impact.
So talking about hard work, putting a big effort, before a chapter's first SLT, what does really prep look like?
So at the very beginning of the year, around August or September, our e-boarders have a MedLife meeting with us, like the first official one. And this is where as chapter coaches, we provide all the information about the details about our service learning trips. And this is where they select the date and destination and also set their own goals too. After that meeting, recruitment starts. We combine this recruitment and promotion, so we do a lot of strategies. The first one, of course, is to participate at the club fair, then promotion on social media, reaching out to different clubs, reaching out to professors, so that we can spread the word about our SLT. After the recruitment process is done, we start having different meetings. For example, we have SLT info meetings, Q&A. We also organize some educational workshops too about the destination that they're going to, as well as providing information on what to pack, what kind of like donations they can bring to the destination, so that they can feel prepared and support also by the MEDLIFE chapter too. We also have different ones such as Q&A, as mentioned before, and the registration meetings too, so that they do not feel that they are doing it by themselves, but actually with a group.
Interesting. And once people register, what else does the chapter do for students?
So we kind of like also give them some additional ideas. First one, as mentioned, is the educational meeting, to just for them to understand more about like the cultural aspect or the economical, political, and social factors of the destination that they're going to go. So, and also we do create like bonding events as well, so they can get to meet the travelers before actually departing and get excited for their trip.
Something that I've also seen and found interesting is in those meetings, preparing like pre-trip meetings, is to setting the expectations, making sure that everyone understands what really they're going to be doing, what is their role, and what is the purpose of all of this, right?
Absolutely. We try our best to clarify the expectations on the reality tour, the mobile clinics, making sure that they also understand that it is more about shadowing and being willing to help others, and also the expectations of the project too.
Before an SLT, we tell students 3 truths. 1, it's not a vacation. 2, it won't fix everything overnight. And 3, it will give you a sense of purpose you can't get anywhere else.
So Ale, what is the most powerful moment you've seen when chapters finally see their impact on the ground?
So one of the most powerful experience I've witnessed is actually the deep connection that our travelers form with the communities that we serve, especially during the project day or the project inauguration. I believe that's the moment when they truly recognize or realize the impact that they have done like throughout the week, and kind of like also get to realize that they do have the potential to do more when they return back home. It's just inspiring to see how the students carry this experience and return to their country and share and transmit what they have learned to others so that they can get involved.
Yeah, on that note, I've seen many chapters that have become bigger, that make a bigger impact back home by the following years recruiting more students, having a more visibility on campus, because those students that came on the SLT learned so much about MedLife, really understood what is the impact that we're making together on the ground, and that has helped them be motivated to pass on, spread the word, and put even more efforts to recruit more students to join the MedLife movement.
Yes, absolutely. And now that you are mentioning, like, for example, the first step is having the SLT experience, I will say, from my perspective. And then when you return back home and you decide to even do more, you usually like become part of the movement or become part of like the MedLife Club on campus. I do have one example actually from my former president from MedLife University of Nebraska Lincoln, Holly. Thanks to her SLT experience and also the time that she has been involved in MedLife, she was able to actually got into med school, into the medical school of Nebraska Lincoln College of Medicine. So that was impressive. And I'm not saying that we do magic, because we do not, but I mean, like, everything they went through, thanks to MedLife, it has helped them a lot. So it is not only about the impact that we generate in our communities that we serve, but actually for our students too.
Yeah, we're literally changing lives of students and changing lives of communities at the same time. So Ale, after students return home, what lessons stick with them?
I will say that after they return back from their SLT, they carry with them like several important lessons. The first one is that they gain a deep understanding of how their contribution can create a lasting change in the communities that they serve. I will say the second one, they develop an appreciation for diverse cultures and their resilience. So that motivates them even more to create awareness of social inequalities. They have learned how to work with different students, different people from different backgrounds, different countries, and sometimes even creating those connections and friendships that will be forever. And so they often return with a strong sense of advocacy, motivated to raise awareness, to fundraise, to make a change. And also, of course, continue their involvement with MedLife by joining their MedLife Club on campus.
Mm-hmm. I would also add to that the Switzerland trip, this trip is really a transformative experience that helps them many times to open up their eyes, gain new perspectives, and also even in many cases question themselves where they want to go, what they want to do. Sure. Because this experience really is helps them see a different angle of life, and so it helps them also have a clarity of purpose. Mm-hmm. So after these trips, many students have told us that they knew exactly what they wanted to do, and they continued a different journey, a different career path perhaps. To build a strong chapter, you need 3 things. 1, leadership. 2, clear motivations. And 3, hard work. Get those 3 right and your chapter will thrive.
The best way to understand MedLife is to live it. Join a service learning trip, see your impact in action, and then bring that energy back to your campus.
Thank you everyone for joining this episode. Remember that chapters are the engine for this movement to make a real impact. And thank you, Alessandra, for sharing your experience, your knowledge with us.
Thank you so much, Alejandro, and thank you everyone for listening. I would like to invite you to start a chapter, to participate in our service learning trips, and to be part of transforming campus energy into global change.
Please subscribe, share this video with a friend, and you can also visit medlifemovement.org to get involved. And until next time, keep building that bridge from campus to clinics.